Right now, I'm experiencing something that I am calling the Great Purge. I am not who I was, and I'm also not who I am becoming. I'm in this middle period, this transitional transformation period. It's giving chrysalis era, turning into goo and not quite yet a butterfly. My relationships are transitioning, my career is transitioning, and everything is leveling up, which means almost everything feels excruciatingly, agonizingly uncomfortable. And there is a temptation to think, am I doing something wrong? But when I'm tempted to think in that way, my inner spirit, my intuition, she knows, no, absolutely not. I am right on time. And I don't know what is to come on purpose because it's a surprise. And I know that every setback is a setup for a comeback. And when things are falling apart, it's because I'm meant to shed and molt all of those versions of me that I don't want to be anymore so that I can be the person that I know is living within me. And I'm becoming her before my eyes, and I have to accept that training and preparation is a part of it. Isolation is a part of it. Losing people who I thought would always be there for me, but ultimately aren't really the people that I see myself becoming like, and who are not on the same wavelength, who don't have the same ambition, who aren't thinking in the same way. I have to let them go. And as much as I want to take everybody with me, I can't because they don't want to go. I almost see it like when I really want to clean out my house. If I'm reorganizing something, I have to take everything out and it looks really messy. If I want to get into all of the crevices of my closet and really get all the dust out and put in new organization, demolish it and make something new, there will be a process where everything looks a lot worse than it used to. But that is the nature of creation. That's the nature of expansion. But unlike the physical world, you can go back. Instead of pushing through the demolition, you can just be like, oh no, everything is too crazy. I must be doing something wrong. And just go back to who you used to be. You can revert back to the caterpillar because you can't manage what it is to be a chrysalis. While I'm here in the middle, it's like, oh, I don't have any butterfly friends and I don't have any caterpillar friends. So it feels very lonely. But no one can go in the chrysalis with you. It's just you and the goo, baby. And I was actually listening to this podcast about butterflies, and when the caterpillar turns into goo, if you cut it open, it's literally like nothing. It's like the caterpillar disappears. It's not like the caterpillar just like sprouts a wing. It literally disintegrates. But there are tiny little microscopic parts of the gut, parts of the brain that still are there, but it's a very small part. And if you cut open a caterpillar before it starts to turn into a chrysalis, you can see faint parts of the butterfly's legs, of the butterfly's wings in the caterpillar. That is something that I didn't know. And within ourselves, there are little faint whispers of the future us within there. And we have to go through the transition of transformation in order for that to be fully realized. But before that, it's just a faint little whisper. I almost think of it too like acne. Sometimes I know when people go on tretinoin or when people do Accutane, it's like your face actually breaks out in purges before it actually becomes a lot more clear. And it's just very uncomfortable to go through that middle period. But if you have a vision of what you know is coming, and you also trust and believe that eventually you're going to get a better result than before, that is the thing that will help you push through that darkness, push through the transition, push through the face full of acne, push through the completely demolished home so that you can get to that vision that you have inside. But if you have no vision, then you're just going to stay who you are for the rest of your life. The most successful people are those who are moved by vision. Life will sometimes just push you into a transition. I would personally rather be proactive and feel like I have more agency over it. But sometimes, metaphorically speaking, there will just be something that completely demolishes your home and you're just forced to renovate. I would rather be like, oh, what if we could do this? What if we could expand this wall? What if we could have a pool over here? And then do it and then just suffer through the demolition process, but for that greater purpose. And then it gets easier and easier and you become stronger and more able to handle that transition phase. One thing that I am continually reminding myself of is that it's not pursuing the outcome. It's pursuing the person who would get that outcome. So how can I become someone who would get the things that I'm hoping for? And how can I feel the things that I think I'm going to feel when I get that outcome? Trust me, I want the outcome, but I only want it if I get it in the right way, which means that I have to become that person who gets it. Let's just take a really easy analogy like social media. You can buy out somebody who has 100,000 followers and then just delete all of their content, change the name. That's just getting something that you didn't actually work for. I personally don't want that. I want to build my following. I want to figure out how social media works, because then it's going to be so much more rewarding, and I'm going to get that feeling of joy, of accomplishment if I do it myself. It feels cheap to just get the outcome without actually working for it. So I have to also allow myself to adjust to the new me and adjust to the expansion and stretch just a little bit more. If I want to do the splits and I'm so far away from the ground, I can't just force my way into the splits. That's going to hurt. I'm going to tear a hamstring, right? It's stretching daily, consistently, stretching out my hamstrings, becoming new, literally changing my lifestyle so that I can get into the splits and expanding our souls, expanding the vessel so that we have the capacity to receive the energy and the outcomes that we're looking for is necessary. If you take the engines in a commercial plane and you put it into a Prius, the Prius will explode. It's not meant to hold that much power. So if we're asking for more power and we have this vision of being a very powerful, capable person, we have to become the vessel that can hold such power, which means expansion, which means stretching, which means discomfort. And I've heard this concept a lot, that especially when it comes to like feminine work and being too much in the masculine, I personally need to be in my masculine more. I've got the feminine, I've got the vision, I've got the spiritual work, the emotional work, I've got all that. But the masculine is the one who acts. And you don't have to work hard, meaning you have to suffer through everything. You don't have to do that, but you do have to act. Manifestation doesn't require hard work, meaning pain and suffering, but it does require a massive amount of action, an uncertain action, not knowing if that act is going to get you the results that you want right away. You have to little by little by little increase your ability to act. And that's why I love content creation, because it's just such an amazing opportunity to be consistent, to develop discipline, to believe in yourself, to challenge yourself, to not think about the numbers or the metrics, but to just put out the information that you know and help the people that you can, instead of I'm not going to do this unless I'm wildly successful right off the bat. If you can only handle doing work, if you feel immediate and instant gratification and huge success right away, you're literally a weak person. That's not what a strong, capable person does. Every step of the way of building whatever you want to build prepares you for the next. And if you have a big vision for your life, you have to go through the channels. We all know that the concept of overnight success doesn't exist. Even if tomorrow I had a massive viral video that got me hundreds of thousands of followers, I've been making content for years. So that's not overnight success. Yes, it looks like overnight success, but if anything like that was to happen, which it has actually on my Instagram, I did go actually crazy viral for this one video, which was absolutely insane, but it had only happened after literally years of making content. And the same goes for everything. I'm just using content as an example because it's the one that I'm always thinking about. It's like a fruit. Fruit is at its peak ripeness all of a sudden, right? It's like an avocado. It's like hard, ripe. And yes, it's overnight. But everything before it that had to happen in order to get that ripe fruit, it took a skilled gardener. You have to become the kind of gardener who would create an environment for the seed to grow. And you have to get to know where you're at in the world and how the weather affects your tree. And you have to water it, but not water it too much. And you can't get frustrated that you don't have the right fruit right now. If you just planted a seed, it's not going to be a fruit the day after. It's gonna take a little bit of time, and you want it to take time. You want to enjoy every step of the way. Oh my God, there's a little leaf. I'm so excited. If you're like, well, that leaf isn't a ripe fruit yet, so I'm a failure as a gardener. No, that's just, I mean, you can, but it's just going to be hell the entire time. And then once you get that ripe fruit and you kind of get to know, oh, there's seasons to this. There's a winter season. It's fine. The fruit is going to come. There's not so much pressure of getting these results right away. But at first it is kind of hard, especially if you're growing from a seed and you've never had a fruit before. So it makes sense. But just learn from other gardeners. Like, trust me, it'll come. And it's really hard when you're acting so much, you're putting so much effort, you're doing a lot in the world and you're not getting the results yet. But the results inevitably always come. Everyone always says that. So just trust everyone who's ever existed, especially successful people. And if you don't know any successful people in your real life, literally just go on the internet. There's so many. I want to share an analogy with you called the cosmic meal of God. This is something that came to me. It's kind of like I was born into this family and that family was eating pizzas with roaches on it. And I grew up eating pizzas with roaches on it. And I'm like, this is kind of toxic. Like this, I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't think this is actually good. And I don't have to accept this. And then I graduated to something different. And I started hanging out with friends and people who were just eating pizzas, no roaches. And I was like, this is better. And then, you expand your palate. You start to eat burgers. And then you start to eat more interesting burgers with like different variety. And then you start to eat tacos and then pastas. And then one day somebody takes you to a fine dining restaurant and you're like, ooh, gastronomy. Ooh, cilantro foam. And your palate begins to expand and you start to realize that there's so much more than the very limited palate that you grew up with. Okay, so that's stage one, just developing your palate, eating different things. And then you start to realize who's cooking all this, who's making all these meals, and the universe or God, I'm just going to say God. God is the chef. God is the chef who is orchestrating all of these meals that you're now eating. So now I'm sitting at this fine dining restaurant and I don't have to worry. Oh my God, is the food being sourced from the correct place? Did they get my order? Did they know that I really love paella? Did they know that I love brown butter dates? Yes. The chef knows everything. The chef has been watching my eating habits since I was a little girl and is so delighted to give me this incredible meal that is filled with just surprises and delights, things I couldn't even think of, like little hammers that break open a chocolate shell and a bunch of caramel comes pouring out. It doesn't mean that every meal is my favorite. I don't like to eat some of the dishes that I have, but God knows, if I give her this seaweed foam right now, she's never tasted seaweed, she's not going to like it. But that is going to prepare her for this course that I have 5 courses from now. And that bitterness or that saltiness is going to create a cohesive flavor in a future plate. So even when I'm eating something and I don't love it, I have to trust that it's all a part of this big gastronomical journey that I'm going on that I don't have to plan, that I know is literally there to simply delight me. And the thing about eating at the cosmic table of God is that all I have to do is eat. All I have to do is eat the meal that has been prepared before me and trust that it's all going to work out. And that is what acting is. It's not hard work. It's just I have to actually put the spoon in the soup and bring it to my mouth and eat it. All I have to do is eat. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm surrendered to the plan of the chef, knowing that it's all good, it's all going to work out, and that everything is going to get more delicious as time goes by, and that all my desires are going to be fulfilled. It's fine. All I have to do is eat. Every day when I wake up, I just say, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do in this moment? How can I get a little bit closer and make some progress to all the various goals that I have? If I've done that, I've done my job. And the thing about being at the cosmic table of God is that there's no end. You have to eat every day. The whole point is just to enjoy the meal. That's it. And another analogy, which is a little bit simpler, is just the weather of life sometimes changes. And right now I'm in the car and I know that I'm headed to the place that I want to go, but I can't see it because I'm in fog. Everything is super foggy, but I know it's beautiful and I know that it's going to clear at some point. But right now, all I have to do is drive that 1 foot in front of me. That's it. because I'm trusting that my GPS is leading me in the correct direction and that it's going to say, oh, no, you took the wrong turn. Okay, fine, let's do this detour if I go the wrong way. But just because I can't see where I'm going doesn't mean that it's not there. Clarity happens as you move. And I see how these little things start to come together as I start to climb the ladder and get there step by step. I have to accept that being on this journey means it's just one step at a time, not leaps after leaps after leaps. Sometimes it is a leap, but most of the time it's just steps, and that's okay. So if you feel like you're in an isolation period, or maybe you feel like you're falling behind, you can't be behind on your own path, on your own journey. If you're somebody who is walking a road that has never been walked before because it's unique to only you, there's no such thing as behind. Everything is exploration, everything is discovery, everything is just beating the level that you're on and continuing to go, gaining tools, gaining skills while you're on the way. And sometimes you think that you've reached the end point and you realize, oh my gosh, this is just a pit stop. I guess it gets better than that. Control the things that you can control, act, and let go of the things that you can't. Surrender. That's it. That's all we have to do in life. If you're in a similar phase of life, I would love to hear from you. Let me know of any tools, tips, mindset hacks that have helped you kind of withstand a transition season in your life. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, thanks. Bye.